So, Tom and Lance, what was the biggest surprise of becoming a parent?
Oh, I mean, there's lots of surprises that you think that when you read all the books, I guess, before Robbie came into our lives, you think that you are prepared and you think that you're going to know what might happen. And then everything is kind of turned on its head because every baby is completely different and every baby has their own personality traits. Some scream more than others, some sleep more than others. But, you know, for us, I'd say the biggest surprise was lots of parents say you're going to fall in love so quickly and it's going to be the most amazing and you kind of understand that before, like, yeah, I bet it is pretty cool to have a child, but until you hold, like when we held our son in our arms, there was no other feeling, nothing that could ever beat that moment of just pure love, joy, and you just fall head over heels in love with this little human, like unconditionally, and it's so quickly, like nothing I've ever felt before in my life.
Yeah, it is really intense. I mean, that is the overwhelming feeling that's indescribable. Those first moments of eye contact with your child, and so I won't even attempt to describe them. I think you just have to do it, and it's with your child, it's a whole different feeling. You can literally feel the chemicals running through your body, saying, "I will do anything, jump in front of anything. Nothing will harm this child. I want the best for this child." I get it now. I understand. I can see through my mother's eyes now. I had a script due like the week after he was born because of how things timed out. And I've been surprised at how you can actually function with very little sleep. I used to use that as an excuse, like, well, I can't write today. I've had no sleep. And now that you can't use that as an excuse anymore. So you have to just get to it. And it's amazing what you can do with little sleep.
Has it made both of you think, well, this made me become an adult, which I know sounds a bit odd because obviously you're both adults. But
yeah.
I suspect it adds a whole degree of responsibility into your life, into your personality that you didn't have before.
I almost want to flip that. I think both of us we've shouldered such responsibility in our lives and careers at young ages for what our careers are. For me, if anything, it's helped me be a kid and to start seeing the world through a child's eyes again. And what is joy? What is important? What are priorities when you're a little one? I think we're both really good at responsibility. And now it's like, oh yeah, let's remember joy.
And reliving childhood. And also you see things, like I see things through my parents' eyes now, and you have a whole different level of appreciation for what our parents were able to do and how they looked after us and how they supported us. For example, Lance's mum, you know, bless her soul, she was paralyzed from the chest down from polio and was a single parent and managed to look after 3 boys. And you just have that whole level of admiration about how amazing parents are to be able to, and what they've done for us and how we've grown up and things. There's all these things that you just look at completely differently, which you never would have even thought about before.
I got a whole list of things I need to apologize. When I see my mother in heaven, I got to be like, I am so sorry. We were such brats on this, that, and the other occasion.
Exactly. It's when you say to Robbie for the first time, you'll sit there until you eat it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're like, oh my God, I sound like my mom.
I don't think we're going to have that problem with ours.
He's a hungry little boy.
Yeah.
He's a hungry little...
Yeah.
Let's look at how you became parents, because you very famously got married. When did you first talk about children? Because there are a lot of gay parents aren't interested in having children. I mean, I've been married to my partner for years. I've never wanted children. It fascinates me that it's never occurred to me to want children, yet it seemed from the outset that you both were absolutely set on it.
I mean, lots of straight couples as well don't want children.
And a lot of them end up with children because it's much easier.
And it's the expected thing, whereas with gay parents it isn't necessarily.
Exactly.
It's not. I mean, I grew up in an atmosphere surrounded by lots of children. I grew up Mormon, so every family had 10 to 12 kids on average, it seemed, and so I grew up with kids. I enjoyed being around kids. I knew how to take care of kids. I always just wanted a big family. It was one of the heartbreaks for my mom when I came out to her was, how will you ever have this thing I know you've dreamed of?
And I think the same for me. I've always found family to be such an amazing thing. And, you know, within the first week of actually knowing each other, we went on a bike ride and first of all, discussed getting married, which is obviously dating.
By the way, this is
after a week.
After a week.
Basically date 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also on that bike ride, we named our children, and that name is still stuck.
Yeah, we broke every rule. So, we discussed everything.
What happened on date 3?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, that's really none of your business.
Which is exactly why I asked the question. Now, what about when you decided that you wanted to have a baby?
Yes.
Now, take me through the process there, because I imagine that there were quite a lot of headaches in the legal process for a start.
Yes, I mean, that's why we did it over in the States, because the legal framework here in the UK isn't set up in the way that it protects the surrogates or protects the intended parents or the children for that matter, or just same-sex families in general. So we went over to the States where the legal framework is there, the surrogate is safe, the children or the child is safe, and we're safe, and everything's a lot clearer. Everyone knows exactly what's happening. At every given stage, at every given outcome, people know what's going to happen in every eventuality. So I think we did it over in the States because it's the safest thing to do. But here there is like a legal framework that needs improving.
I think so. I mean, it's harder. It takes a long time. It's 2 to 3 years. And there's a lot of hoops to jump through for everyone. Everyone, whether you're donating an egg or being a surrogate or an intended parent, has to go through psychological screening, medical screening, financial screening to make sure no one's doing this because they need the money, to make sure what has happened in, say, India or Thailand doesn't end up happening in California. So is it tough? Yeah. Can it be expensive? Yes. Is that the safest way to go? I kind of think so. I mean, would it be nice if it was as easy as a bottle of wine and a fun weekend? Probably it would be much easier. But I think with surrogacy, there comes responsibility. And when I hear the concerns of people in the UK around surrogacy, my reaction isn't, oh, get over it. My reaction is, you got a point. You have a point. This could be dangerous. This could be hurtful to a lot of people.
So you think basically the British law needs to reflect what happens in America to make it safer here?
It just needs to be updated to protect everyone, because even if there's a legal contract put in place, it doesn't hold up in court here in the UK. So it needs just to, I guess, be updated, and just so it makes it safe and everybody is... because or else it can become the Wild West with there's no rules and regulations about what can be done and what can't be done. Anything and everything is happening.
There are some really upsetting things that do happen here. And I do think the law needs to be updated. I'm really heartened that there's a review underway right now, but I wouldn't limit, this country's a great country. I know I sound like I'm from the other one, and I am. Does the law that UK ends up with need to reflect United States? No, outdo it. Do better. Do even better. Make it even safer. There's still things I think you could look at in American law and say, we might be able to make this even more transparent and rip off any possibility of shame if we make sure that these kids can meet their surrogates. That there is no lack of information for these children born of surrogacy. I think there's always a way for the law to create clarity. And when the law is good, it creates clarity not just for the people participating in it, but the people outside witnessing it. The population understands the process better in the presence of good law.
You've had your child in a fairly public way, and I guess there was no alternative to that, really. What have you made of the reaction to it, sort of in the media and on social media? We all know what that can be like from time to time. Obviously, you've had a lot of people wishing you well and congratulating you and all the rest of it, but you've had also some fairly horrible stuff said.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you always, no matter what anybody does, you always expect a little bit of negative backlash on social media, just because people can, just from behind a computer screen or behind their phone, say whatever they want to say without actually confronting the person in face to face. But then obviously there has been media that have been slightly with negative comments, if you like, towards
mostly around the same-sex parents thing, though.
But yeah, I think it is the same-sex parents thing that most people have an issue with, and
I've seen a couple of things saying, well, they're depriving the child of their mother, which I've never quite understood, because you're providing a child with love, you're providing a child with a home, you're providing a child with two parents. There are many kids in the world today that don't have those things.
I wasn't raised. I had a single parent. Tom did also, for a heartbreaking reason. And also, but these are misconceptions. There's also those saying this child was ripped out of the arms of its biological mother. Well, that's actually not how surrogacy works. Yeah. We love our surrogate. She'll be in our lives forever because we adore her. She's a friend. but she's not biologically related to our son. That's not how the process works. It's why we've chosen to be transparent about having a son. It's to try and make it easier for other gay and straight, most people using surrogacy are straight, families, so they don't have to face that. So there is more understanding. And I think then with that understanding, no one is ripping any child out of any mother's arms. And even in same-sex relationships, there's a lot of women around. I mean, and that's just how raising any family works. Yes, we're the two parents, and I think he's fortunate to have two parents. But there's no or probably few families in the world where only the parents interact with and help raise that child. I mean, I don't know what we would do without Nana Debs, Tom's mom.
My mom, yeah. She's up most weekends. She's been not seen him for the last couple of weeks, but she's itching to get back up. And then, my friends and my family, it's brought Plymouth and Texas together. And I think,
Who'd have thought?
Yeah, who'd have thought? Exactly. Plymouth and Texas
together. It didn't take the Plymouth Brethren to do that.
No, I know.
Do you feel, though, that, when you came out, Tom, you were regarded as a role model by many young people. You made it easier for them in some senses. Was there any... And I don't know whether you make a conscious decision like this, but did you make a conscious decision to do this in public? Because by doing this, it becomes more acceptable to others. It means that other gay couples can think, well, okay, they've done it. Well, why can't we?
I think it's for people who want families and to know, what is a family now? There's so many different variations of what a family should look like. And, one of those things that I think is why we've wanted to be open and honest and transparent and share our story. And, that's one of the reasons why I'm, partnered with Pampers Pure, is because they've chosen a dad to be the ambassador for their product. But then not only that, it's a same-sex couple, and to shine light that we are a family as well. We may not have a male and female parent, but we are a family, and we love our child, and we want what's best for our child, just like any other family out there. And, the love and joy that we surround Robbie with, every day we wake up with a massive smile on our face because he is the best thing that has ever happened in our life.
That's assuming you do get any sleep.
Oh, well, yeah.
He's
been good. So we hate saying it because we know it's going to change, but he is a great sleeper. But when we wake up and we see his face and we say good morning to him and he's smiling back at us.
By the way, newsflash, he's smiling and giggling now. It's unbelievable. I'm becoming that guy. Every single little thing, I'm like, newsflash, why is this not on, the headlines of every paper tomorrow? He's giggling.
Yeah.
And how has it affected your careers? Will it affect your career? I mean, you write scripts. I guess you can do that while Robbie's in the cot next to you. But that's a bit more difficult for you, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we're lucky that Lance works from home, and then I'll be off to training. I go back on September 8th. So we'll see how that goes. And obviously, I don't ever want to leave him because he's the most precious thing on the planet. But, all the athletes that I've spoken to that are also parents, they say that you learn to use the time that you have. So when I go away to train for 3 hours, of course I don't want to be away from my son for 3 hours, but if you go and spend those 3 hours away from him, you want to make sure that you are doing everything that you possibly can to do the best job that you possibly can in those 3 hours so they're not wasted. So then when you come home, I'm with Robbie and there's no thinking about diving and thinking about the training and overthinking things. So in a way, you end up working harder and resting harder.
Now, everything that you've said so far has been remarkably positive.
Yes.
Anything negative at all about the whole experience or even being a parent?
I honestly...
Well, I mean, you do... I don't know if it's negative. It's about the compromises you have to start to make someone else the center of your life. I mean, that's true. I mean, that's one of the things that Pampers, who we're working with, did the study about what are the things that parents give up in order to make sure the child has everything. Yeah, you hit one. Sleep. I'm not good at it already, so we switch off with the night feeds. And so when it's my turn for night feed, I know I'm going to get 3-4 hours that night. That's a compromise you make. We don't watch TV a whole lot anyway, and we certainly aren't watching any now. That's a thing people give up. Going to the bathroom alone. Sorry, that's over for right now. There's things you have to give up. I don't know if you call them negative because it's all just kind of new and the trade-off is so massive in terms of the love that you're creating in return. But yeah, let's not pretend like life gets easier.
Yeah.
And also, everything that you've said, I could have had straight parents in front of me, and they would have said exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Does it frustrate you that you are still described as gay parents, because you are just parents, aren't you?
Yeah, but we are gay parents. That's all right. Let's just not, and there's straight parents and there's lesbian parents. And I don't mind that label as long as it's not derogatory. You know, I mean, what's wrong with being gay? You know, I think our son will probably learn a lot that maybe, others won't. And I think that variety is special. That variety is lovely. That variety creates a far more spectacular world to live in. What we do have to figure out, and it's what my mother taught me, is that in her difference, being paralyzed, everyone told her how she couldn't be a parent, how she couldn't hold a job, wouldn't go to college. Well, she defied all of that. And she taught me that difference is value. Difference is where you draw strength. And I hope that by us doing this in an open way, which was a conscious decision on our part, it's not the easiest decision, but that starts to shine a light on what gay parenting looks like. And boy, it looks an awful lot like straight parenting, I'm sure.
There's a lot of poop.
There's not a lot of difference. Yeah, when you come to pee and
fun.
poo and nappies, it's,
You
all
should
the
have two
same.
puppies like I've got.
No,
two
God.
puppies.
Well, look, it's been great having you on the programme. I think we ought to have you back in about a year's time and see how the whole experience
Hopefully,
has
you might be
developed.
starting
Yeah.
to walk by then.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, you never know.
see.
Thank you very much.